Hey, this is Dr. Griffith for AP Environmental Science, and this is lecture for Unit 5.14, Integrated Pest Management. Short lecture, very important topic, IPM. Okay, so you're going to use this a lot in your answers to FRQs, and so we're going to take notes on page 41. Okay, you're going to fill this all in. Like I said, short lecture, big topic. Ready to go? Let's go. So, integrated pest management, or IPM, is a combination of methods used to effectively control pests while minimizing the disturbance to the environment. However, this is not organic farming. This is integrated pest management. We are going to use this to be very good to the environment, but still use some pesticides sometimes. So, IPM is practical, it's integrated, it takes into account the economics and sustainability, okay? So here's what you're gonna fill in. Okay, so you're gonna write what IPM is, and then you're gonna fill in this, this little pyramid here, okay? So here's the intervention. So the biggest thing you want to do is have good sanitation and make sure you don't change the habitat or change the habitat in a way that it helps the regular ecosystem be stronger so that we can use this to grow food. Then you're going to have physical and mechanical things like actually combing things out. Like if there's some, if you know, instead of using a chemical to get rid of lice, you actually use a comb to get rid of lice. So that's physical way to get rid of things. You can go and like kill each little bug that's on your plants. I remember doing that when I was growing broccoli. I had a bunch of aphids and I was trying to use ladybugs to be a biological control, but they weren't doing a good job. So I would just go out there and pick the aphids off and kill them. And I ended up with like this much broccoli at the end of like a whole like season of growing. It's not as efficient as pesticides, right? Anyway, so you can actually put up screen and you can wear the right clothing so you don't get hurt by things. And if you're doing this for your crops, you can use things that are a little bit less harmful. Then the biological ways that you can interfere to help have fewer pests is biological. So you have predators and parasites. So that's when you would use a ladybug perhaps to kill the aphids. And then you have your biorational. You have repellents, diatomaceous earth, oils, insect regulators, microbioles. So basically you can use some biodegradable types of pesticides that aren't as harmful as your classic conventional pesticides. And that's what you're using at the very tip. You use them very judiciously, you use them very little. But that's how you do IPM. You really think more about how to do things on these base ways more than the chemical way. So crop rotation. This is big. Crop rotation is one of the best things that you can do to keep your soils good and to break the pesticide treadmills. Okay, so if you plant nightshades, which is a plant such as peppers, and they thrive under mulch and they prepare the soil it helps prepare the soil for the next year. And then you could grow brassicas. Brassicas like broccoli that eradicate weeding, and then they help mulch for the year 3. So brassica vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, those are near and dear to my heart because that's what I studied for my PhD. I studied how chemicals in brassica vegetables can work to decrease the growth of cancer cells. So there's all kinds. This is another one of those, like, we really need the biodiversity because we might find things that actually help people, not just because they're healthy vegetables, but they have chemicals in them that could perhaps be pharmaceutical agents to help save people's lives. So you can ask me more about that later. I love talking about my PhD, but it's a little tangential to this. So then in year 3, you can grow weed sensitive crops like carrots. So you don't use the same thing over and over again. Straight monoculture, where you grow the same thing all the time, will really give the pests a great foothold so that they can keep around and ruin your crops. So crop rotation and then intercropping is going to be where you grow more than one thing at the same time. This can also build soil. So then you can get pesticide resistant varieties. Okay, so if you grow nasturtiums and broccoli together, then you will repel aphids. If you grow bush beans and potatoes together, that will repel some types of beetles. Onions and lettuce will repel rabbits, and tomatoes and daffodils will repel mice. And it's so pretty. Why not have some daffodils in with your tomatoes? So you can be very smart about what you plant and how you plant it and when you plant it to decrease your pesticides. And that's part of IPM, to decrease your pesticide use, right? So you can create habitats for the predators of the pest. So this is a way to use a biological control in a good way. Now, remember, you want to use, when you use a biological control, you don't want to introduce a new species that's never been there before. You want something that is part of the ecosystem naturally, so it doesn't become an invasive species. Okay, so the beneficial bugs here, the ladybug is kind of your best example, but spiders are excellent, and so you don't want to use you don't want to get rid of the natural biological controls. You want to give them a happy space so that they can help you in your farming. So you can see IPM is not the same as organic. In organic farming, you do not use chemical controls. But in IPM, you do. And you do use a little bit, but as little as possible, and you use it in a much more effective way. So IPM is really good for the environment, but if you can go all the way organic, it's better. There's going to be a place sometimes for these harsh chemicals as long as you think about how you're using them and use them in a way that's going to be the least harmful to the environment. Okay, so these are all things that you do. It really does take a lot more work and record keeping and timing and understanding your soils much better, and your pests and your crops, so that you can get your maximum amount of yield from your crops. So the benefits are that they reduce the need for pesticides, they reduce the potential for air and water contamination, and it protects non-target species. So you don't kill a ladybug or a spider by mistake. Okay, so these are some benefits to IPM that you should be filling in. And then the negatives are that they require more time and effort and planning, more money up front, which will pay off in the long run. They may alter ecosystems and introduce pests, predators, and it doesn't eliminate the need for pests completely. I'm sorry, the need for pesticides completely. Okay, so IPM, very important, not organic, but much better than monoculture or using lots of pesticides without being careful about it. Thanks for listening.